Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you could join me today. I hope everybody's doing well. As you can see, I'm in a very spooky place, but I'm not scared because you're here with me and I know we're going to have some fun. So I thought I would get dressed up, put some makeup on, hide the bruises that I have on my face from the other day when I fell. That's right, I had another fall. Some of you may not know that, but that's what happened. And I ended up spraining the wrist that was healing from the break. It was another one of those freakish accidents. And sometimes I wonder if there's a little witch out there that's doing some spells. And if you are doing some spells on me, please stop it. And if you're a good witch, please send me some positive energy so I don't have another fall. Of course, I'm just kidding, guys. It's Halloween. What can I say? Well, it's not exactly Halloween just yet, but by the time you see this video, it may be Halloween or it may have passed. In any case, we're going to make that gorgeous necklace that you saw in the introduction. And yes, it has little spiders as dangles. I know some of you don't like spiders. The good news is that you can use whatever you want for dangles. You could even use stars if you wanted to, or flowers. But anyway, guys, we're going to be using the beads from the Soft Flex monthly design kit, Spider Queen. I don't know if the kit's already sold out, but I know that it launched on the 20th of September, so that was quite a while ago. In any case, I'll leave a link to the website down below so you can go check it out. I know they have other design kits. So anyway, guys, if you were one of the lucky ones to have purchased that kit, you're in the right place. If you didn't purchase the kit, you're going to have to compromise and use similar beads. You know me, I always leave a list of all the materials down below in the description section of this video, so you can go find similar beads on the internet somewhere, or maybe go to the Soft Flex website and you might be able to find them there. Whatever you do, I want you to have fun today and compromise if you need to and be creative. And I hope that this video will inspire you to make something similar if you can't make the same thing. That's what my goal is on this channel, to inspire you and to motivate you to create beautiful pieces. So anyway, guys, I don't want you to worry because I did take precautions. I made sure that I iced my wrist very well and I took some Advil before making the tutorial. Now, I'm not saying it was easy because it wasn't, but I'm glad I made it because I got through the tutorial just fine and I didn't have to do anything too difficult or too strenuous, so I was pretty happy about that. I am going to try to take it easy though because I feel like I need some recovery time, so that's what I'm going to be doing for the next few days, which makes me feel a little bit bad because I still have to make some tutorials for some cooperations that I've agreed to take on, but hopefully if I can let this heal a little bit, I'll get to those tutorials. Now, before we get started, let me remind you to please subscribe to my channel because it really does help my channel and it helps me to stay motivated to create more videos for you. Oh my goodness, there's so much thunder going on, it's really spooky. And how do you like the spooky characters in the background? Are they giving you the creeps? I'm not too concerned about them, they're pretty harmless. Okay everybody, well I'm very anxious to show you how to make that gorgeous necklace, so let's go ahead, turn the camera around and we'll get started. And here are the contents of the Soft Flex Mystery Design Kit, which was launched on September the 28th. As you can see, it's a Halloween theme. We have some purple colors, we have some green beads up there. We have some spider charms in the Jesse James Beads Design Elements Bead Mix. We also have a couple of spiders in this little bag here. And of course we have the Soft Flex beading wire, which is in a purple color. I love it. And how do you like my little friend up there? I was going to bring out this little friend, but I know some of you don't like spiders, and this one looks too real in my opinion. This guy definitely does not look real because he's all bejeweled. So anyway guys, obviously we're not going to use all of these items. We're definitely not going to use these 3 strands. We're only going to use this one here. But the first thing we're going to do is arrange the beads for the focal part of the necklace. And today's project is going to be very easy and very quick because I've already played with these beads a little bit, so I kind of know what I'm doing. And so hopefully we'll have some time to make some earrings at the end. Now before we select the beads, I do want to let you know guys that I did pull these out of my stash. I have some jump rings as you can see and some head pins. The head pins are flat head pins. The jump rings are about 6 or 7 millimeters big. And they're both in a gunmetal color, as you can see. We're going to be using the head pins to create some dangles, and we're going to use the jump rings on the chain piece that's going to go on the bottom of the necklace, and we're also going to use them at the top of the necklace to attach the clasp. I also have a length of chain here. This chain is in a gunmetal color as well, and the links are about 3.5 by 5.5 millimeters big, and the links are twisted oval links, but you can use any kind of chain that you might have that's in a gunmetal color. So let me go ahead and remove these items that we don't need just yet. We don't need the strand just yet. Let's go ahead and open up the Jesse James Design Elements Bead Mix. As you can see, I've already been into it. I use these clips to close the packets so I don't lose the beads. They come in really handy. So anyway, as you can see, the name of this bead mix is Spider Queen. Very appropriate. Let me go ahead and dump the beads out. And isn't this a beautiful mix, guys? I love the purple and the black. And as always, I'm tempted to use all of them, but obviously we can't do that. So like I said, I spent some time playing around with the beads and I came up with a bead pattern. And it did take me quite a while, guys, because I had to figure out what beads went together and how long I wanted the length to be. And to help me, I used this rod. This is called a magic rod. I carry these in my Etsy store. And I like to use these because they have little stoppers on the ends. And it's actually made out of steel, so it's very sturdy. It does have some resilience. It does bend a little bit, but it always comes back to its original shape. And the nice thing about these rods is that they fit through almost any bead, including seed beads. And I'm sure you've seen me use these in previous videos. I use these to make bracelets. They come in handy for bracelets, especially stack bracelets, because when I'm trying to build lengths that are equivalent, for example, if I'm trying to make 4 bracelets and I want each of them to be a specific length, I line up the bead patterns on my rods so I can get the exact same measurement for each one of the bracelets. So anyway, they come in handy for a multitude of things. And if you're interested, I'll leave a link down below to my Etsy store. And another thing I want to mention is that they do come in 2 lengths, 9-inch and 12-inch lengths. This one is the 9-inch length, and that's what we're going to be using today. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm removing the stopper. Now let me show you what I came up with. I'm going to start by loading one of these rondelles, these tiny rondelles. And then the next bead is going to be this teardrop shaped bead, like this. I want to definitely use some of these spacer beads, these metal spacer beads. So I'm going to load one of these next. And then I was thinking about one of these purple beads. I love these. So that's what we have so far. And then I wanted to use these because I thought these were so interesting looking. So let me go ahead and load it on. And as you can see, that purple bead sits really nicely inside this little piece. I don't even know what you call this. Maybe it's a double bead cap. I don't know. If you know the name of this component, please leave it down in the comments section below, because I'm curious. I've seen them before in the past, but I don't know what they're called. But anyway, let's move on. I'm going to go ahead and load another one of these purple beads, like this. And now I'm going to load another one of these components. And I want the beads to start to get bigger now, so I'm going to load one of these melon beads. Now the melon beads didn't come in the Design Elements bead mix, guys. I inadvertently put them in the bag. These came separately. I just realized that just now. So let me go ahead and separate them. As you can see, we got a total of 10 melon beads. And like I said, they did come in a separate pack within the Softflex design kit. They did not come in this Jesse James bead mix. So anyway, this is what we have so far. And now I'm going to load one of these rondelles. I love these. These are so gorgeous, guys, because they're purple. They have clear rhinestones, but I love the purple metal. And of course, I had to use one of these purple beads because I just love this color. And now we're at the bottom of the necklace. So I'm going to load more purple beads, but I'm going to put those rhinestone spaces in between. Now I didn't have enough of the same color for this design, so I'm going to go ahead and use this one, which is in a gunmetal color. It still has the clear rhinestones, but I think it's going to be really nice to alternate between the purple and the gunmetal colors. So let me go ahead and load another one of these purple beads. And now a purple rhinestone spacer. And another purple bead. And now a gunmetal spacer. And now another purple bead. And a purple spacer. So this is what we have so far. Don't you love that? I think it looks really nice. Let me move these up a little bit. So now I'm going to continue the pattern. So I need to add a melon bead. And another one of these. And now a purple bead. This faceted one. And another one of these. And another purple faceted bead. And now one of these metal spacers. Let me move things down a little bit. And now one of these teardrop shaped beads. And one of these rondelles. Let me put my stopper on so I don't lose my beads. And this is what we have so far. I think it looks beautiful. Let me just show you again what we did. I started with a little rondelle, then the teardrop shaped bead, and then the metal spacer bead, daisy spacer, the faceted purple bead, this double bead cap thing, whatever this is, another faceted bead in between these two, a melon bead, a purple rhinestone spacer, and then we alternated between the purple and the gunmetal rhinestone spacers with these 4 frosted purple beads, and then we repeated the same pattern on this other side. So I'm pretty happy with that. Let me move these up, and I'm going to measure this now. It measures about 6.5 inches. So now we're going to cut some pieces of chain that are going to go along the bottom here. As you can see, I have 4 pieces of chain, and I'm going to join them later on with jump rings once we create the dangles. Let me just tell you how much each one of these pieces measures, and I'll pop up the metric conversion up on the screen. This first one measures 1 3/4 inches, and so does this one over here. And these 2 little ones measure 1 1/8 of an inch each. But before we connect anything, we're going to create the dangles. So let me just go ahead and pick the beads that we're going to be using for the dangles, and I'll remove the rest of them. So here are the beads from the Design Elements bead mix, and I'm going to use one of the spiders that came in the little pack that came in the kit. And the reason I'm putting this one in the middle is because it actually looks a little bit different than these two. It's not a huge difference, but there is a bit of a difference. But anyway, guys, as you can see, we're going to have 3 dangles, and each one of them is going to have a spider hanging from the bottom. I'm going to be using these head pins. I'm going to actually make eye pins out of them using the one-step looper. And again, I'm using the one-step looper because of my issue with my wrist. But you can just do your traditional simple loops using round nose pliers. Now I know that's frustrating if you don't own one of these. So what I'll do is pop up a video on how to make a simple loop for those of you who don't have this tool. But as you can see, I have the one that creates 2.25 millimeter loops, and I believe that's the inner diameter measurement. They do come in different sizes, and I don't think this is the smallest. There's one that's smaller than this, but they do have some that create bigger loops. So anyway, guys, let's go ahead and get started. I'm simply going to take one of these head pins, and I'm going to place it inside the one-step looper like this. And you do want to place it in the middle, just like that. Okay, and then squeeze it. And as you can see, it took the head off the head pin. And I usually bend it a little bit like this before I remove it. Now sometimes the loops don't come out closed, so you have to close them yourself like this. And there are times when you have to use your round nose pliers to close it a little bit more. But other than that, I think the loops come out nice and uniform. So now we're going to go ahead and load this big one. I love this beautiful disco ball. That's what I call it because it reminds me of a disco ball. I think this bead is absolutely stunning. So now let's go ahead and create a loop at this end. Now the one-step looper has a hole in the back, as you can see. And the reason that hole is there is so that you can push your head pin all the way through like this. And that helps to center your head pin right in the middle of the jaws. And you do want to make sure you push your bead up against the jaws, because if you don't, you're going to have a little bit of the post showing, and you don't want that. So now once you have your bead in position, you're going to go ahead and squeeze. And then, like I said before, I always move it away from the jaws like this. Close it. I always try to line up my loops to make sure they're facing the same direction. And if you need to close your loop a little bit, go ahead and do so. So now we've completed this one. I thought I would go ahead and make the earring and show you how to do a simple loop. Basically, you want to make sure your beads are nice and snug. You're going to grab the pin at the very top of the bead or the bead cap, like I am, like this. Kink it. Snip off the excess, leaving about 3/8 to 1/2 inch. And now you're going to grab the pin with some round nose pliers, making sure that it's flush, and go ahead and form a loop. Make sure your loop is nicely closed. Straighten it out if you need to. And that's basically it, guys. Very easy. So now I'm going to do the same exact thing with these 3, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, all of my beads are done. I've created some simple loops on each one of them. One thing I did want to mention, guys, these 3 beads here, this one, and this one, have loops that are parallel, so they're facing the same direction. But this one here has loops that are perpendicular to each other. Let me just show you what I mean by that. As you can see, one loop is facing one direction and the other one is facing the other direction. And you'll see why in a minute. So now that we have that step completed, we're going to attach the spiders. And that's very simple. We're simply going to open up the loop like this, slide the spider on, and close it. So there's one connected. I'm going to go ahead and connect the rest. So now that the spiders are connected, I'm going to connect this bead to this one here. So once again, we're going to open up the loop and close it up. Now that we have all 3 dangles built, we're going to go ahead and connect the chain pieces and connect them to the chain. For that, we will use our jump rings. So I have 3 jump rings here. So let me show you how we're going to do this. Let me open up this jump ring. I'm going to connect this piece of chain like this, and then the charm and the other piece of chain. And let's close up the jump ring. You want to make sure that the jump ring is closed really well, okay? So this piece is done. Now one thing you need to make sure you do, guys, is you want to make sure your spider is facing the front, because they do have a back side. Let me show you the back side. As you can see, it's flat in the back. So you want the correct side to be facing the front. And now I'm going to connect these 2 pieces of chain in this dangle. So once again, I'm going to get a jump ring, open it up. And once again, you want to make sure you hang it the right way. And now let's connect the other piece of chain and close it up. I can't stress how important it is, guys, that you make sure there's no gap at all in your jump rings. So now this one is done. Now this one's going to be connected at the end once we thread everything onto the beading wire. So let me go ahead and get the beading wire. Now the rule of thumb for me is that I always give myself at least 2 inches at each end to do the crimping. So if my necklace is, say for example, 16 inches long, then I want to cut myself a length that's 20 inches. So whatever length you want for your necklace, you're going to have to take that into account. Make sure you add another 2 inches at each end to do the crimping. I'm going to cut myself a 24-inch piece just to be on the safe side, because I really don't know yet how long I want my necklace. I'm thinking 16 inches, but I'll know more once I load everything and hold it up to my chest, because sometimes you don't know exactly until you put it on your chest, depending on what design elements you have. For instance, in my case, I have these dangles, and I don't want these dangles to hang too low. Now, before we start loading anything, I'm going to put a clip at this end. You can use a bead stopper if you want to. Let me just move everything down a little bit. And this is very simple, guys. To offload from the rod, you simply remove a stopper like this. You want to hold onto this end, remove the stopper, and then offload. Now, since we have a specific bead pattern, I'm going to just do 1 bead at a time, but sometimes you can do multiple beads depending on your bead pattern. The nice thing about the rods is that it holds everything in perfect alignment, so it's easy to thread onto your beading wire. And it's relatively quick too. So let me go ahead and keep threading everything on. Okay, as you can see, I've stopped loading beads. I'm not going to load those just yet. I actually shouldn't have loaded these at this end, but I'm going to offload them in just a minute. And the reason I stopped is because I need to load the chain. So let me go ahead and do that. Now before I thread the chain on, I want to make sure my links are not all twisted up, because I don't want the charm or the dangle to face the wrong direction. And then once you have your links lined up, you're going to go ahead and thread your beading wire through that first link like this. So this is what we have. And now I can go ahead and load the rest of these beads. So there's my spacer bead, my teardrop shape, and the rondelle. So now I'm going to do the same thing to this end. Let me go ahead and remove this stopper and put it on this end. And I'm going to remove these three, the rondelle, the teardrop shape, and the spacer bead. Let me just make sure my links aren't all twisted up. And I'm going to thread the beading wire through the first link, bring it down, and the spacer bead, the teardrop shape, and the rondelle. Let me show you what we have so far. So this is what we have. And now all we have to do is connect this one down here. And we'll use this jump ring for that. Let me go ahead and add another clip to this end so I don't lose the beads. So now we'll open up this jump ring. And we're going to hook it up to this first link here. And now we're going to hook up this dangle, and again you want to make sure the spider is facing the correct direction. And now this link, like that. Let me go ahead and close it. So let's take a look before we finish it up. That looks really cute. I love it. Now it's going to drape differently, guys. When you hold it like this, it drapes differently and the chain doesn't hang so low. It's hard to see, but you'll see later on once I put it on what it looks like. So now we're going to finish the necklace with these beads, and the reason I want to use these beads is because they're clear, and that means that the purple color of the beading wire will show through, and that's going to look really nice. Let me go ahead and remove the beads from the strand. I'm going to use pretty much all of them. And I don't know if there's enough to go all the way up to the necklace. So what I think I'll do is add some more of these rondelles. And I have another 4 here. Your other option would be to use some of these beads if you want something that's a little bit longer. Now I know I need to divide these beads into 2 piles. And they need to be 2 even piles. So let me go ahead and do that. Okay, as you can see, I have 2 piles of these clear beads. Each one has 21 beads. And of course, we're going to add 2 of these on each side. So let me go ahead and thread them onto my rod and see if it's going to be long enough. Okay, as you can see, I loaded both rods. And it was really nice that I could divide the clear beads into 3 segments, each one with 7 beads. Let me go ahead and measure it. It measures about 4.5. So now let me go ahead and measure this length. This length measures 6.5. So 4.5 plus 4.5 is 9, plus 6.5 is 15.5. But once I add the jump rings and the clasp, it'll be exactly 16 inches. So like I said, guys, if you want something longer, you're going to have to use some of the other beads. The Design Elements bead mix came with these cubes as well, so you could definitely use these if you wanted to. But anyway, now that we have the beads lined up for the strands, we're going to go ahead and load them onto the beading wire. So let me go ahead and start at this end. Let me move everything this way. And once again, you want to hold on to this end, pull the stopper off this end. And now to offload, you can offload in multiples if you want to. This beading wire is pretty thick, so it's a little difficult to get it through there, but there you go. You can do 1 bead at a time if you want to. I just find it easier to do multiples. And I'm having a little difficulty because of the cast or the brace on my hand, so I'm not able to line things up properly. But anyway, guys, I'm going to keep threading these on until I finish threading this rod, and then I'll do the other side and I'll meet you back. Okay, I'm back. As you can see, I loaded all the beads. And doesn't this look cute, guys? I love the way this hangs. I think it looks so adorable. Now before I crimp it off, I'm going to take it to the mirror, hold it up to my chest to make sure that's the length that I want. So let me go ahead and do that and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back and the length is good. So now I'm going to crimp off the ends. Here are 2 crimps that came in the kit. So let me go ahead and show you how to do that. We're going to thread on one of these crimp tubes like this. And now we're going to take the tail and thread it back through the crimp tube like this. And you want to shorten that loop, so bring that crimp tube down. Like this. Now the biggest challenge with crimping is that you need to keep the beading wire separated inside that crimp tube. And it's difficult to see, but if you hold it like this, you should be able to do it. And now I'm going to use these crimping pliers. I'm going to place the tube in that first divot, which is the one that creates the U shape, the deep one. Once you have it in there, you're going to go ahead and squeeze. And this is what you should have. And now let's turn it on its side. And now I'm going to place it sideways inside one of the 3 divots at the front of the pliers. My plier has 3 sizes, small, medium, and large. I usually choose the medium one. And then go ahead and squeeze, and that folds the crimp tube over. And then I always come in here and squeeze it a little bit more to tighten it up a little bit. And this is what you should have. Once you've done that, you can go ahead and cut off the excess. Now I'm not going to put a crimp cover on because I just can't do it with my hand the way it is. So if you want to put a crimp cover on, that's fine, but you don't have to. You can just leave it like that and it's fine. So now let me go ahead and slide all the beads down. You want to make sure you eliminate any spaces, but you want to keep it nice and fluid. You don't want it too stiff. And go ahead and thread on your crimp tube. Bring it down. And now thread the tail back through. Shorten your loop. You want to make sure that it's the same size as this one. And once again, I'm going to go ahead and crimp it. Turn it sideways. Fold it over, tighten it up, snip off the excess, and now that we've crimped off the ends, we're going to attach the lobster claw clasp. I have 2 jump rings here, and here's the lobster claw clasp. Let's open up the jump ring, connect it to the loop of your beading wire. Now this is the right side, so we're going to go ahead and connect the lobster claw clasp. And obviously this is for a right-handed person. If you're giving it to a left-handed person, you would have to connect the clasp on the other side. And once again, you want to make sure that jump ring is nicely closed. Let's open up this jump ring now. And connect it to the other loop. And now let's close it up. I think this is a really cute necklace. And tell me that's not adorable. I think it's super cute and I love the colors and I love the sparkle as well. Now for the earrings, we're going to use these 2 beads. I love these. These are the sparkly ones. They have that texture, that sparkly texture, which I think is adorable. And we're going to use 2 of these bead caps. And we're going to use 2 of these cubes. I'm also going to add these bead caps at the bottom of these beads. And I'm going to use these adorable black spiders. And of course we have to use the earwire hooks that came with the kit. And here I have 2 head pins. So let me just show you how easy this is. We're going to use the 1-step looper, or you can just do simple loops if you want to. Let me flatten out this loop. First thing we're going to thread is one of these cubes, and then a bead cap, and then one of these beads, and this other bead cap, like this. I think that looks so cute. I'm going to have to do a simple loop at this end. Hopefully my hand can handle it. But anyway, you want to grab the pin like this. Make sure everything's snug. Line up your bottom loop. kink it away. And now I'm going to snip off the excess, leaving about 3/8 of an inch, maybe a little bit more. And now using some round nose pliers, you're going to grab the pin like this so it's flush and form a loop. You want to make sure your loop is closed nicely. And you want to make sure it's nice and straight as well. Like this. And now we're simply going to open up this loop like this. Grab one of the spiders. Slide it in. Close up the loop. So this is what we have. Now here's an important thing, guys. If you want the spider to face the front, you need to have your loops perpendicular. I should have done that before and I forgot. But it's not too late. I'm simply going to grab this loop like this and turn the loops so they're perpendicular. So now we're going to open up this loop, attach the ear wire hook, close it up. And as you can see, this is the way you want it to hang. So that's why you need to make sure that your loops are perpendicular. So anyway, guys, I think this earring is adorable. I'm going to go ahead and finish the other one off camera and I'll be right back. Well, that's it, guys. That's a finished set. And I absolutely adore it. I think it's so cute. And I think one of the reasons I love it so much is because I love purple. Purple is one of my favorite colors. But it's also quite whimsical because of these beautiful striped beads and the spiders. And I love how these earrings turned out. But anyway, guys, if you want this kind of effect with a chain hanging down below this strand, what you need to do is have a segment of beads that's 1 inch less than the chain strand, if that makes any sense. But ultimately, it's up to you how far down you want the chain to hang. I think that's just personal preference. So anyway, guys, I'm very anxious to show you what it looks like. So let me go ahead and put it on and I'll be right back. Well, what do you think? Do I look like a spider queen? Or perhaps I look like Count Dracula's wife? I don't know. Whatever I look like, I know I'm ready for Halloween. And I actually love the sparkle in this necklace. I really do. I love those rhinestone spacer beads. But I can totally see swapping out the spiders for something else. I think if I were to swap them out, I'd probably put stars or something like that. I actually love the celestial theme very much. So anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. I hope I've inspired you. Go out and make your own necklaces. Thank you so much for watching, and I'm looking forward to seeing you again. Happy Halloween, and I'll see you next time. Bye.